Now, back to the HaneyBiz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the HaneyBiz Project, brought to you courtesy of accounting firm Clifton Larson Allen. I'm Mark Haney, and we are back with Titan Gilroy and Kevin Kiley. We've been talking about advanced manufacturing. We've been talking about politics. And we're going to talk a little bit about jobs and education and the way one influences the other. But Kevin, I got to ask you, you're back on here. What did you think when you met Titan and hearing his story? What were your thoughts?
I was absolutely blown away. I mean, this guy is such an inspiration. Not only his personal story, how, learning a craft and applying himself to it turned his life around, but now how he's actually doing that same thing for countless people throughout this area and throughout this state. I've been to his facility, and it is amazing, the stuff they're turning out over there.
Well, it's amazing how sometimes we stereotype people. We're talking about that during the break. We have a politician that grew up in Granite Bay, and this sort of image comes to mind. And we got this guy who grew up on the streets of Hawaii and was a fighter and served time in prison, and he's got some tattoos, and he looks like a very bad boy. But both are leaders in our community and in helping small business and helping the next guy in line. So Titan, just kicking it over to you a little bit. You're building something very unique in education, and how we talked about how that is affecting, let's call it the workforce of tomorrow. Give us some more thoughts on that.
Well, I think it's just, like I said earlier, like flipping education on its head. Because I'm an entrepreneur, because I'm a builder, I'm a programmer, I run the machines myself. When I looked at the schools and I looked at the different curriculums and what they were actually making, I realized that they literally weren't making enough things. They weren't learning through repetition. They weren't like going after the advanced technology that we use. Therefore, I couldn't hire these kids, right? So going into the prison, I decided to make my own curriculum to actually where a lot of people in manufacturing, they teach them the old ways, the old manual machines and work their way up. These kids are like growing up on computers. Let's put them on the computer. Let's do designs. Let's make parts. Let's learn by doing. So now with the academy and 30,000 students up online for free, now people like dads come home and their 7-year-old kids are engineering and people were saying that 18-year-old kids couldn't do it. And it's 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds. We're just changing.
Well, Kevin, we think about the education system, and you obviously grew up in a great some great schools. Is everybody built to go to college and take the route that you took, or are there some people that like Titan says, you know what? They might not be at that stage of their life or that place in their life at this stage. Some people will maybe bypass and go straight into the jobs.
Well, we want to have schools that prepare everyone for college who wants to go. And that's an obligation I think we have as a society, to have a quality education for all students. But there are many students who may not want to choose that path. If you want to pursue a career in advanced manufacturing, if you want to be a maker of things, then college may not be as relevant for that path. And the fact is that we have just totally neglected career technical education in our schools over many years in trying to drive everyone towards college, when that might not be the best thing for the student, and it's definitely not the best thing for the workforce.
That's like shop class and stuff like that, right? There's some of these programs in the high schools are getting cut out. Not everybody has auto shop or wood shop. Is that what you're talking about?
Right, and the sort of thing that he's doing. I mean, I met a kid at his facility, at his company, who was 19 years old.
Jacob, 18.
Jacob, 18, he told me all about the things he's doing. He's going and teaching classes now. He loves his job. He's adding huge value to the company and to society. And, that was the right choice for him. And I was really inspired by it.
Well, here in Sacramento, we talk a lot about innovation, and it makes you instantly think of the Silicon Valley and some of that kind of thing. And Titan stuff is very high tech. But, I mean, think about the jobs of the tradesmen today. I've got a construction company and different companies that we're finding there's a shortage of
Absolutely.
Guys that like to roll up their sleeve, the people who are like the labor guys. There's a shortage of those guys right now.
That's right. It's a huge gap in the workforce right now across a whole variety of trades. I think that we're starting to wake up to that our education system is misaligned in this sense, that it doesn't create those pathways to those sort of jobs. And so you are seeing some renewed interest on the part of state government leaders to try to restore some investment in those sort of things. And that's the path we definitely need to continue.
Well, Titan, we talk about the need a little bit. We're competing globally these days. You talk about competing with China and other areas that are kind of known for having very affordable manufacturing. You're saying we can compete differently here in Rockland.
Absolutely, we can compete. We can compete anywhere. When you look at China, they're running CNC machines exactly like the machines at my facility. So if I can outthink them and get the machines to run on automation, on automatic, then why can't I do the work here, right? So instead of running one machine, we run 5 machines, and we bring robotics in and automation, and we do it on a high level, and you don't have to pay the shipping costs. And if a customer has a problem, they can come right down the street and grab that product. It just makes sense. I would like to say something, though. One of the things that I believe is that you don't see manufacturing on TV. I believe that a lot of our leaders have sold out manufacturing because they're not on the floor. They don't understand that we can compete, right? They're disconnected. So when it comes to somebody like Kiley, who actually came into my facility, asked the right questions about CNC machining and really wanted to understand the trade and if we could compete. Well, look at this guy, right? I'm a manufacturer, but he's actually helping with education. And now his mind is open to the fact, you know what? Maybe Titan has something here. Maybe we should have a conversation about it. And you know what? He's got good friends, right?
Yeah.
So I think that you got to give him some credit right there, because not all leaders do that.
Well, you mentioned, Kevin, about the government helping subsidize. I don't know if these are grants like for the trades, for the technical guys. What's happening on that front? Is that something that occurs here in a state like California?
Yes, there was a big debate this year around funding CTE, and we did end up securing that for this year. But I think there's a lot more to do in making sure
career technical
education, vocational training.
Okay.
You also have a lot of different schools, whether it be charter schools or traditional public schools or some private schools, that are doing a lot on this front too, and making this a very significant part of the education you receive.
Well, what do you think about the way Titan is doing this from an innovative standpoint, right? He's become basically a celebrity brand, and he's taking this education nationally, right? It's based out of Rockland, but his education happens all over the country, probably internationally, but he's doing it through online courses, and he'll tell us about his small groups in a second. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome. I think he mentioned this is the only manufacturing show per se that exists in the whole country, and so it's fantastic for raising awareness. And when you look at the things he's been able to do, going into a prison, teaching someone to craft, and then, as he stated very eloquently, giving someone the ability not just to get a job when they get out, but giving that sense of purpose. I mean, this is not only a pro job, pro economic growth enterprise, it's pro public safety too, because one of the biggest issues we have when it comes to public safety is people reoffending when they get out. But this is the sort of thing that can prevent that.
Well, thinking about you take this entrepreneurial approach to education, right? You're getting corporate sponsors to come in and help underwrite some of this curriculum. Very entrepreneurial. Tell us about what you're doing in that front.
Well, one of the things is, machining, making parts for aerospace companies is my business, is how I make money. So when I actually now have a new passion of doing education, there's money being given to the schools, but who builds the curriculum? Nobody really thought that we're giving hundreds of millions of dollars to all these schools. Math teachers are becoming shop teachers, but we fail to realize something really important. There's zero curriculum, right? So I've taken on that challenge to do it correctly. And because I had the TV show, because I have a massive audience, just like NASCAR races with, whatever sign on their car, big companies, billion-dollar companies, they see me and I run their machines. I run their tools. And that's how I've been able to fund it, keep education free. And one of the exciting things in California is CTE. I'm actually working closely with them, and we're setting up little teaching seminars where I'm meeting with all the California teachers to teach them how to teach the academy. Wow. So they're actually coming to the table. We're talking now, and we're going to just mentor all the teachers so that they can teach the Titans of CNC Academy to our kids so we can actually take care of all these aerospace companies that are like skyrocketing right now.
And we only have about a minute left, but maybe I'll give each of you a chance. We're in my hometown, Kevin. This is your hometown. It's now Titan's adopted hometown here in the Sacramento area, and we're sitting here in Rockland. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about starting a business, thinking about chasing their dream? Is now the time to do it, Kevin?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that when it comes to pursuing your dreams, now is always the time. But especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur in this area, I think that, there are a lot of great opportunities. And as I said before, sometimes our state doesn't make it easy. But we have folks like HaneyBiz, as well as some very, involved and helpful local chambers of commerce to connect with that can help you, get on your feet and, make that business that you want to lead into a success.
Titan, closing thoughts about helping the next guy in line. Is now the time? When is the time? And what should we do if we're thinking, we might want to tap into that motivation that's inside?
Well, I think that, somebody, when I was losing everything in '08, I was like literally laying people off, and I talked to a businessman that gave me the best advice, and they said, Titan, they can take everything from you, but they cannot take your talent. And I think that gave me fearlessness to actually make deals, to go after things that nobody else would, because what's the worst that could happen? I knew I could solve people's problems, right? So you just got to move forward. If you believe in yourself, if you put the work in, and you're well-rounded in that craft, and you have a niche, then you need to fight. You need to grind, and you need to make it happen, because you're the guy. You're the only guy that's going to do it. And if you wait, then you're going to lose it. So
nobody can take your talent away from you. I want to thank you guys both, Kevin and Titan, for coming on the show, for sharing your words of wisdom and your inspiration. And next week, we're going to try to top this show. I don't know if it's possible, but next week, we're going to be bringing on the man behind the Family Business Association, Mr. Ken Monroe is going to join us. Jason Cardinay, he'll be joining us talking about taxes, right? He's with CLA. The tax man is going to come as we prepare for the new year. And Craig Farrington, pastor of Destiny Church, will be joining us as well. Little shout out to my buddies. You talk about the chamber, talk about these different groups that are jumping in to try to help the Sacramento entrepreneurial community, or actually helping. They're not just trying, they're doing. And one of them is the Entrepreneurs Organization of Sacramento. These are entrepreneurs who get together. It's a little bit like AA for entrepreneurs, right? We get to come in and confess our sins and make friends along the way. And I think you want to surround yourself with the people who you want to be like. And I like being around the entrepreneurs, and that's what the Entrepreneurs Organization is all about. When we return, I will share my takeaways, some closing thoughts about who you know or what you know, which matters most. Join the revolution at HaneyBiz.com, courtesy of Ethan Conrad Properties and financial advisors, Stifel Financial. This is the HaneyBiz Project.